The Bush tax cuts were a 10-year deal. Year 10 is upon us, and they are due to expire at the end of the year. Republicans now are in a mad dash to convince America that we need those tax cuts to stay in order to stay afloat in this fragile economy. Democrats in the White House have said that they plan to keep all of the Bush tax cuts in place, except for those in the top tax bracket, for whom the U.S. income tax rate would rise from 35% to 39.5%. What's the horrible, terrible impact of that going to be? Quote, taxpayers with income of more than $1 million for 2011 would still receive, on average, a tax cut of about $6,300 compared to what they would have paid under rates in effect until 2001. It's only a bummer for rich people when compared to the roughly $100,000 average tax cut provided by the Bush plan to households with more than $1 million in income per year. In other words, when the Bush tax cuts were just a twinkle in some Republican policymakers' eye during the Clinton administration, people making more than $1 million a year were doing just fine. And remember how fine rich people were doing in the go-go 90s? I don't think I knew any personally, but they appeared to be doing very well. Yesterday, a nonpartisan analysis requested by the House Ways and Means Committee indicated that the Republican plan to extend the Bush tax cuts in full to everybody, even the richest Americans, that would add more than $36 billion to the federal deficit next year. And it would, of course, give those benefits to the richest among us. Forget for a moment that both plans keep in place a ton of tax cuts that are the biggest deficit inflator that we have as a country. If you just take that off the table for a minute. Ezra Klein, our friend at the Washington Post, took a look at what the Democratic and Republican plans for the Bush tax cuts actually do for average Americans. And he breaks it down by income. If you make between $20,000 and $30,000 per year, the average tax cut would be $771 per year under the Democrats, and the Republicans would save you $769, almost exactly even, a $2 difference, right? Seems pretty fair. If you're making a better living, let's say you're making between $75,000 and $100,000 a year, the difference in money saved is only slightly bigger, but still really narrow, $29 between the two plans. No real indication of inordinate favor. But if you are lucky enough to be in that top tax bracket that we talked about earlier, if you're doing really, really well for yourself, if you're making more than $1 million smackaroos per year, look at the difference. Whoa, hello. Only a difference just over $97,000 between the Democratic plan and the Republican plan. You still get a tax break under the Democratic plan, but look at what you get from the Republicans. Take a look at the full picture as it appeared in Ezra's column today. Look at when they show all the income brackets. Look, sort of even. Oh, that's not even. Ah, what's that? Republican plan looks totally like the Democratic plan until you get down to really, really, really rich people. And then it's like, it's like a big fat-bottomed snowman or something. That graph should be fun to campaign on.